Hey, Bills Mafia. We know there's only one topic every day. All Bills, all the time. And now Matt Beauvais and Sal Capaccio are going really deep, talking Bills all year long, because it's always game day in Buffalo.
So Matt and I were debating about, doing another pod this week. We said, yeah, we should get to one, and then didn't really know if we would do one on Friday. That's when it is today while we're recording. And then after the Sabres game hit last night, I'm like, I got to get that taste out of my mouth and just start talking with Matt again about the Bills. And that's kind of how we got here today.
What a disappointing way to start the season, especially in front of such a full crowd, right? We're always talking about, hey, when that arena's full, it's such a special place and got to get it full more often. And then they get it full and then they lay an egg. And I think the worst part is they didn't even really play that bad. Like, I truly don't think that it was that bad of a hockey game. I think for 10 minutes in the beginning, they were outplayed. And then the last 5 minutes, they were outplayed. And they kind of controlled everything in the middle. But while they controlled everything in the middle, they didn't score a goal. And now it looks like they're going to be without one of their primary offensive pieces for at least a little bit, if not longer, with Josh Norris, who just cannot stay healthy. So, you talk about sometimes on the Bills side of things, these players who can't stay healthy, Matt Milano, Tyler Bass, Ed Oliver, whatever it is, like, it's nothing compared to that with Josh Norris. So, yeah, just a really crummy way to start the season, admittedly.
So we figured, and not all Bills fans are Sabres fans, but we figured we'd bring you another pod to kind of get you away from that a little bit as the Sabres go into the weekend. They have a game Saturday and then Monday afternoon. They have two actual games still before the Bills play on Monday Night Football at the Atlanta Falcons. It'll be the second time ever inside Mercedes-Benz Stadium. The first time was 2017. Trey White with the very odd defensive interception that maybe shouldn't have been a fumble, but they called it a fumble on Matt Ryan. Yeah. But Micah Hyde had, I think, 2 picks, but I know he had one fantastic one down the middle of the field. That was a really, really great afternoon.
I think about that game a lot when I think about the beginning of kind of this wave of Buffalo Bills football. They were a really big underdog, and it was not the game. It was not as big of a win as, actually it was probably at the time as big of a win. 2018 against the Vikings is the Josh Allen coming out party, like on that stage. But this was the Sean McDermott in the defensive coming out party with the safeties and them trying to take deep shots down the field, not having luck, and the Bills being able to completely shut them down. So, yeah, I think about that game in 2017 a lot. I mean, memory serves me correct. I'm pretty sure that was the year after the Falcons went to the Super Bowl. So they were a huge favorite. The Bills, new head coach, all of these new players, nobody knows anything. And then they end up going on and making the playoffs.
Yeah, and this year, the Bills and Falcons both looking to stay hot, if you will. The Bills, in a sense of being 4-1, the Falcons in a sense of winning last week, their last game, and then having a bye week. So both teams at a pretty interesting spot here, and we're here to talk about it. It's always game day in Buffalo. All right, speaking of packing the house, we are hoping to pack the house as we are taking the show on the road again. Matt and I are going to be out and about. Check this out, folks. I went to this spot a couple of weeks ago to check it out, Matt. It is fantastic. It's awesome. It is called Buffalo Old Brewery, and it's on East Lovejoy Street in Buffalo, 1221 East Lovejoy Street. It's a brewery inside, and it's got a beer garden outside, which is amazing with a stage. We're going to be there on the stage, and we're going to be there Thursday night, this coming Thursday night, as the Bills have their bye week on the following weekend. Thursday night, October 16th, we're going to start at 6:30 p.m., leading you into Thursday Night Football. Giveaways from WGR and Odyssey. It's going to be a fantastic night.
Yeah, and I'm excited because it feels like a natural point of a little bit of a reset, right?
Yeah.
With the Bills season of, hey, where are things standing at the bye week? Where do they go from here? We're going to have a lot of questions about the Bills coming up with all of these players coming back or that we think are going to be coming back. So I'm really, really excited. And also the venue looks amazing. So we hope that if you watch, if you listen, if you're in the Buffalo area, come check us out. We'll hang out. We'll have some food. We'll have some drinks, and we'll talk about the Bills.
And we will be live, everybody. So if you're not here, you can watch us on the stream, take part in the live chat and all of that. But come on out. Once again, 1221 East Lovejoy Street, 6:30 p.m. on Thursday, October 16th. It's a fantastic place. We can't wait to be there. Okay, Bills at Falcons, Monday Night Football. Now, Friday, the Bills practiced again, but no official injury designations on anyone. But a little concerning that some guys, A, have been limited this week who played the game last week, or B, didn't even practice on Friday. If they're practicing, that's Curtis Samuel. Interesting there. TJ Sanders still isn't practice. Dalton Kincaid in a red non-contact jersey 2 days in a row. What do you make of all these guys before we get to Ed Oliver and his possible return?
Yeah, the only one that moves the meter for me right now is Dalton Kincaid, just because he has been an effective piece for the Bills offense in a team that needs to get the offense going again. I don't think you want to take one of those pieces out of the mix. So I do think that Dalton Kincaid is somebody to keep an eye on. 2 days in a row in a red non-contact jersey is interesting, to say the least. I think that I would say right now, I think he plays, but at the same time, like, with injuries the week before the bye, sometimes teams want to be extra cautious and just know that they'll be healthy when they come back from the bye. So he's the only one that I'm like genuinely concerned about if the Bills offense doesn't have him. Haven't had TJ Sanders last week, and his play has been sporadic. He's part of a rotation. Getting Ed Oliver back is a bigger piece. And the other guys, I don't think anybody who I'm like really paying attention to.
No, and on Curtis Samuel, really, to me, it's, well, as long as you have Samuel or Moore, they're both kind of interchangeable, right? It feels like these guys are interchangeable. They have been interchangeable throughout the first part of the season. So then it just means Elijah Moore gets more opportunity, but it does create interesting situations with numbers. Damar Hamlin as well, a backup safety. He is generally active, plays on special teams. And I think, let me see, he was not at practice on Friday, which is interesting as well. So you do have some guys that, back end of the roster, special teams, guys who fill in, but the guy who's returning, it looks like could be, is Ed Oliver. I really think Ed Oliver is going to be I want to stop short of saying difference maker. That makes it sound like, oh my God, they're just going to be amazing on defense. But I do think he's going to matter to this defense a lot.
I think so too. I think interior pressure helps everywhere else pressure. I already know that the Bills are getting to the quarterback relatively quick. They're just not finishing on a lot of them. I feel like getting that extra help in the middle will make everybody around him better. My question is, what kind of Ed Oliver are we going to see? Because one, he's coming off of an injury, and two, he has been, and at times in his career, inconsistent player. If we know we're going to see the guy who played week 1 against the Ravens, I think the Bills are getting a huge difference maker. If we see half of that, well, then that's still going to help, and it's better than what they've had. But that's what the Bills need. The Bills need an effective and healthy Ed Oliver, not just a healthy Ed Oliver.
And let me tell you why it's important in this game. The Bills have faced some mobile QBs, and I know Ed only played the first game against Lamar. But in Tua, they made him look a little mobile, even though he really wasn't. But interior pressure could matter a lot against Michael Penix, because if you get interior pressure and he has to move off his spot, as coaches love to use that phrase, off his spot, I think that could play into what the Bills want to do with Michael Penix, because you do not want him standing in the pocket. He's a precision passer. That's what his game is. His game is based on completion percentage and being accurate. If you get him moving, he doesn't run really at all. I think the Bills would love to get that interior pressure and get it from Ed Oliver.
That's why TJ Sanders would be nice, because you would have multiple options of that interior pressure that every team is coveting, but also why I think Ed Oliver could really be a big player for the Bills on that side. And then the same thing too. It's like, when you have Ed Oliver, you get a more effective Daquan Jones. Maybe you get a more effective Deion Walker in spot duty or in some sort of rotation. Or now that Deion Walker has all of this experience that he didn't have when he was playing on the same line as Ed Oliver, maybe they are using them as some sort of package or rotational pieces together. And, I think Greg Rousseau has slowly made progress. They need more from him. And then Joey Bosa, that's obviously a question. Really strong week 2 against the Jets. Haven't seen much since then. It would be a big game for him to be a difference maker. But against a quarterback who isn't so mobile, I really like the chances of a player like Bosa, instead of trying to kind of chase somebody out of the pocket or, run them down. When there's the more statue-like quarterbacks like Penix, I feel like that's when the Bills pass rush should have some favorable matchups.
The Bills have had some criticism here, and probably rightfully so, at their cornerback position. And fans really believe that they need to go out and find another corner. In this game, they're going to be challenged at corner because they have very good pass catching weapons. And I mean, at all levels. You're talking about Bijan Robinson, you're talking about Kyle Pitts, you're talking about Drake London. I mean, you got a running back, you got a tight end, you got a wide receiver who can really catch some passes here. As this team goes forward, do you think that they are in the same mindset of we have to do something different at corner? Or do you think the way the Bills think, Matt, that they're okay with riding this out with Tre'Davious White, basically the way it is?
I think they're okay with riding it out with Tre'Davious White, but I don't know if they should be. I've made a group message with a couple friends, and one of them is a pretty big Patriots fan. He's from Boston, and he texted the group message literally Friday morning. He said, I went back and watched the Patriots-Bills game again from a couple days ago, and Tre'Davious White just constantly was getting beat, especially by Stephon Diggs, and that was a big reason why. He was like, he is absolutely hurting the Bills' defense. And I feel like a lot of people would say something to that extent right now. I do think it is a problem for the Bills. I think they need more productivity out of their cornerback position in general, but specifically with the cornerback 2 position, and that being Tre'Davious White. Do I think they do something? I don't know. I think right now that would be the leader in the clubhouse of a position I think they could target in a trade before the deadline. I really do feel that way because I think that would help the defense just instrumentally. However, I do think a healthy pass rush will also cover up some of the problems that they have. Or a more effective pass rush, because I shouldn't say healthy. They have been healthy aside from Ed Oliver. So I think getting Ed Oliver back, if it continues to be a problem after Ed Oliver is back and then after Hoyt returns and Ogunjobi returns, then I think it's a position that you need to address because it's not as simple to me as just Max Hairston going back out there. That was something that we've talked about on the pod a couple times. That is something a lot of people are wondering about. I don't think it is just, well, Max Hairston will be back. He is the cornerback 2, and everything will be fine. I just don't think it's as simple as that coming off of the injury he's coming off of and knowing the strides he needs to take.
So the Atlanta Falcons offense boasts all this talent. Matt, they've only scored 19 points a game. I mean, you could either look at one of two ways, which is, well, they really, they have some talent there, but they're not putting it together. Or, man, they are really dangerous, and they just haven't busted out yet. They have had some big games, and maybe that's very much impacted, obviously, by getting shut out by the Carolina Panthers. Oh, by the way, I don't know what to make of Atlanta on offense, to be honest with you. They have this great talent. Again, running back, wide receiver, tight end. But I guess I would have to point to the quarterback being second year. He's only had a handful of starts here. And I like the Bills defense and the Bills coaching in a matchup against a quarterback like that, to be quite honest.
While you were talking, I was just looking up on X Darnell Mooney, just because when you talk about the Falcons options in their offense, it is Bijan Robinson, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, and Darnell Mooney. But Darnell Mooney hasn't been playing. He is apparently out on the practice field today in a helmet, but not fully participating, and he was not a participant on Thursday either. So I would say that one is iffy at best, considering he has missed some time. But yeah, I just don't think offensively they're that dominant. My daughter wants a cheese stick, if you can hear this on the side, by the way. You want to say hi to Sal?
Hi. You know what? I love it.
What did you say you wanted?
Cheese stick.
Okay, I'll get you a cheese stick. She wants
to heat it up too?
No, just like a
just a regular cheese stick. I got you. Yeah,
I'll get her a cheese stick in a second.
You got it. Max likes the Baby Bell cheese too, the rolling ones. He likes.
Those are good. Those are good.
By the way, I just saw this. The roof will be open for the game.
That's sick. I've never been to the stadium. I'm very much excited.
I just saw this come across.
Yeah, this is one. This is one of the only stadiums I haven't been to, so I'm excited. All right, I got to go get a cheese stick.
All right, you go get a cheese stick. I'm going to talk real quick and tell everybody what's going on here because I want to also promote, in case you haven't heard, it's a good chance for me to say while Matt steps away for a second, folks, you got to get on this Buffalo Legends cruise that we're doing, this Buffalo Football Legends. It's me, Thurman Thomas, Steve Tasker, Don Beebe, Butch Roll, Del Rita 26 shirts, Scott Norwood. We're going on the Celebrity Beyond cruise ship. We're going out of Miami next May 10th through 17th. Yes, it's a 7-night cruise. I understand that you're like, 7 nights. Dude, it's going to be amazing. It's going to fly by because we're going to be celebrating Thurman Thomas's 60th birthday on the ship. It's your chance to hang out with all these guys. And I'm going to be doing all the Bills kind of, cruise ship directing and all of that's going on with the memorabilia stuff, the meet and greets. We're going to be doing the dinners. So the thing I need to tell everybody though, when telling everybody on the radio, got to understand, you can't just sign up in January, February. We got to do this now. There are limited spots left. They have payment plans available. So make sure you go to BuffaloFootballLegends.com. That's BuffaloFootballLegends.com. And we're going to have a great time on this cruise ship come next May. All right.
Thurman, thank you for holding down the fort.
You got
Thurman
it. Thurman
bangs the drum at the Sabres.
He did. I just saw him today. I had to go to his house he doesn't live far from me. And I actually had to go to his house. And I said to him, the Sabres could have used the number of goals that you were banging on the drum, at least one of them.
He walked into the game yesterday, in plain sight, but it was funny. He had his hood up, so not everybody would notice who it was. And I was standing there doing a live shot before the game out in the plaza, and he saw me, I saw him, and he was just like, shh. And
I love it.
smirked,
He's the
and he
best.
like continued to sneak in and then went and did that. So obviously, Bills fans love Thurman. What we were talking about was the Falcons offense and their lack of consistency before my 2.5-year-old daughter rudely interrupted that she needed a cheese stick, a part skim cheese stick out of the fridge. So that has been handled. We'll see if she comes back and asks for another one. But I am just pretty underwhelmed overall by the Falcons offense. I know that they had their get right game right before the bye, and that was a good sign. I don't know how much I trust the Commanders defense as being like whoa, look what they were able to do against the Commanders, because I don't think that their defense is phenomenal. And I do think that they are just a couple pieces and not an entirely dangerous offense. Those pieces can be really, really dangerous. But to me, if the Bills do a good job containing Bijan Robinson and Drake London, they should absolutely win this game.
Yeah, and on the defensive side, though, I got to tell you, again, I don't know what to make of this. They are literally setting records right now at this pace. Excuse me. They've allowed the Falcons defense, Matt, 135 yards a game passing.
Yeah, I'm
135.
I'm more concerned about the Falcons defense than I am about the Falcons offense and their ability to give the Bills a hard time.
I don't disagree, but I do want to point out, and again, hey, I'll be the first to tell you, the Bills are 4-1. You can only play who's on your schedule. They have not played world beaters, no doubt about it. But if you want to dig into it and say like, okay, that is really impressive. They did play Baker, and Baker's obviously really good. Then they played the Minnesota Vikings. Who was on it? Was that Carson Wentz that game, I think? Or did JJ in that game?
No, it was McCarthy. I think it was McCarthy still, but he really struggled. And I think that's the game that kind of got him benched, even though it was, injury related.
And then it was Bryce Young, and then it was Marcus Mariota. So look, again, they're doing a great job. And on his weekly radio interview with me, Sean McDermott, I asked him about that. And he said the way that they're built at all three levels, they can rush the passer and they have coverage guys. So obviously, they respect a lot. The Bills do respect a lot of what they can do on defense. I look at the numbers, though, even though they're allowing 135 yards passing a game, which is very, very minuscule, they can be run on a little bit. They have been run on. And I think this is a game that it's not going to be sexy. I think the Bills go back to James Cook and pound him and say, we're going to win this game by controlling it with our ground game.
Yeah, I mean, I think about the game that they got shut out. This was an outlier, but they get shut out 30-0 to the Panthers in week 3. Chuba Hubbard, however you want to say it, 4.3 yards per carry. They had 73 yards on the ground with him in that game. Rico Dowdle also had 30 yards in that game. So I think about that game. And then you think about last week when they played the Commanders. Let's see. The Commanders had... Yeah, I mean, the Commanders kind of beat them on the ground pretty good in that game, but there were a ton of points in that one. So, yeah, I agree with you. I think that this is a James Cook game, and then Josh Allen is kind of taking the shots and taking the throws when they're given to him. But the one thing I want to say, though, is I still want them to be a little less predictable. That has been a criticism I've had about the offense, really, for the first 5 weeks as a whole. Just feels a little bit like they run on first down, and if they get a big run on first down, they run again on second down, and then they reset, and then they do it all over again. If they don't get a big gain, then they're playing from behind the sticks. They throw the ball, and then if you're an incompletion or a penalty away, all of a sudden you're in a really, really tough spot. I just want the Bills to be a little less predictable with how they approach this, but I would have no problem if this is a heavy dose of James Cook, because I do feel like that might be the most effective way the Bills have at attacking the Falcons. And for what it's worth, if you start to have success on the ground against the Falcons, they're going to adjust, which should open some things up for the passing game.
Yep.
And when you're a Bills team, like the one thing I will give the Bills credit for is with the everybody eats mentality, it's harder to kind of take everybody out of it because you don't exactly know what a team is going to do. And that's why I do think having Dalton Kincaid healthy is a big deal, because I think he is starting to trend in the right direction. And I know the Falcons are going to play a lot of zone defense, and that's fine, but it's who can beat their zone matchups. Kincaid did a good job beating his man matchups against the Patriots, which is why he was so dominant. But when a team is playing zone, like, you just got to find a soft spot in the zone and beat it. And I think the Bills will be able to do that as well.
Make sure you're subscribed to us here on the audio and video side. You can listen to us wherever you pod on the audio side at iTunes, Spotify, WGR, and Odyssey app. And, of course, at Sal Sports on YouTube. Check us out. We are always talking to you. Kind of sometimes we forget that we have just the audio when we talk to you, but we always have you audio. We always have you video. It doesn't matter how you want to pod. We're right here for you. All right, Matt, the NFL this weekend before the Bills play. Of course, they play Monday night. It's another week where you can kind of sit back on a Sunday, watch what's going on. But this time you don't have to prepare for a game. Actually watch some Sunday football going on this week. Am I crazy? Am I crazy to say I think the Saints have a chance to beat the Patriots in New Orleans?
I don't think that's crazy at all. I mean, I don't think they're going to, but I don't think it would be a crazy thing that if they did it. I think that they got a real chance.
Yeah, I think so too. And I look at how the Patriots play. They always play these. They want to play kind of a close game. They want to take advantage of your mistakes, which they did against the Bills. But if they make some mistakes like they did against the Steelers, it doesn't matter. And this is a game where if they got a couple big plays against them, which the Saints are capable of, I think that the Saints can have the Saints can give the Patriots a run for their money and maybe even win. And I bring it up because if the Patriots do win, Matt, we go into Monday night. A Bills loss puts them in second place in the AFC East.
It's crazy. I know. It's very much a possibility. I think about that. Now she wants a fruit bar. She wants a fruit bar.
Right,
I know.
well,
this is Daddy's on solo duty today while Mommy is at work. So I apologize.
No, totally.
We'll get you something. We're going to say hi to Sal. I think that for the Bill, and the other thing about the Patriots is their schedule is very favorable for the next actually for the entire year, because they're playing a fourth place schedule.
Especially next 3 weeks for sure.
That's what I mean. So like for the Bills, I think that does put a little bit of added pressure on the division. It's so early in the season, right? Like there is so much time for all of this stuff to get figured out. But I have thought about that of like, okay, if the Patriots win on Sunday, Monday night becomes just a little bit more interesting, because if the Patriots win and the Bills lose, now you're also sitting on a bye week, and then the Patriots could extend their lead while you are not playing, and then you are playing catch up, which I'm sure the Bills don't want to be doing.
That's right. By the way, I will at some point we'll have Bernie, the Great Pyrenees that we just adopted. He'll make his appearance on It's Always Game Day in Buffalo at some point when we get an opportunity. And then the last one I want to ask you about, because we're going to be not talking to everybody before this game, Lions at Chiefs Sunday night. How cool is that? That's a great Sunday night football matchup for a lot of different reasons, obviously.
Don't you think if the Chiefs, they have to win this game? They really do. I just think about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think so, because I think it looks like the Denver Broncos and maybe the Chargers are going to be right there. Although I know this one is going to sound crazy. I actually think the Jets can give the Broncos a bit of a game in London. After the Broncos had a big win in Philly, they get on a plane, they go to London. The Jets are 0-5. They're going to scrap and claw and do anything they can to try and win it. It's going to be tough. But let's just say the Broncos win that game, which they should. Yeah, I mean, if you're the Chiefs, you got to keep pace here now with the Broncos. I mean, that's a team that thinks they can beat you and take over your division.
Oh, definitely they can. I mean, I just think about that division. All right, I'm
You're good.
Yeah, we'll say goodbye.
Finish your thought, and we're going to say goodbye.
Yeah, my thought is basically, listen, if you get to 4 losses in the AFC already at this point with that division, and obviously the other teams that you're contending with, you're going to be playing from behind. And I mean, that makes for the Chiefs, realistically, if they lose, that makes their game in Buffalo a must win for them. Or, I mean, we're talking about them maybe getting in as a wild card. She wants a mango fruit bar.
Go get a mango fruit bar. Go get a cheese stick. Everybody. I'm sorry. That's all right, buddy. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to everybody next time here. And It's Always Game Day in Buffalo. Thanks to our producer, Mike Rabier.